Good morning, everyone. So, as Steve mentioned, at InfoScout, we operate America's largest purchase panel, and Geometry Global, as a client, has been leveraging this, doing a number of purchase journey studies for branded and retail clients, and we thought we'd bring in a recent example we did that's a little bit more fun around the purchases of alcohol. So without further ado, this study looked at how does the journey change or shift and what drives it when people are invited to an event. Okay? How do they go about purchasing alcohol when they've been invited to an event, and are there different paths that different kinds of people take? And in particular, with a focus on millennials, regardless of where they go, whether they go to the grocery store, the liquor store, the convenience store, the club store, you name it. Let's understand what are those key drivers and differences in the purchase journey among millennials invited to an event. The way that we gathered this data is through the InfoScout purchase panel, whereby 350,000 Americans are taking pictures of their everyday shopping receipts every time they go shopping, no matter where they shop or what they buy. And then we can trigger surveys to them in the moment, right after we see what's on that receipt, to ask them a whole bunch of questions related to that particular purchase. So that's the way that we gathered the data associated with this, making sure that we had enough respondents through the different channels to get significant reads on each. Bridget?
Yes, so millennials are a big group, and we've seen lots of different ways that they've been segmented based on lifestyle, based on other various demographic variables. But what we found in this study were two distinct groups of millennials that we're going to call the socialite and the rebel. And what we found about them was a really distinct, unique behavioral difference in their shopping journeys. And we noticed that, I think most notably, the rebel group has a much larger basket size. So looking at their total basket on this journey, the rebel spends 21% more total basket, which is notable and significant. So what is that journey behavior that results in that increased basket size? So what we did, the Geometry's approach to mapping purchase decision journeys, we believe that any good journey has three major waypoints. So that would be the trigger, the ready to buy, which is where they're entering the retailer, or in the case of e-commerce, they're going to the website. They've made that commitment, and then the actual purchase. How do they go about that purchase? How do they select? What is their consideration set, and so on? So looking at the journey for millennials overall, it's fairly straightforward. The trigger, the most common trigger, is that they're invited to some sort of an event, some sort of small gathering, which was our focus for this study. We wanted to see how those small gatherings played out along the journey. So the steps are pretty straightforward. They think about the occasion. They might talk to somebody. This is all pre-store. They check their mental budget. Add it to a list that could be mental or written. And then when they get to the store, in store, they may talk to their family or friends if they have someone with them. They might check out the refrigerated section of the store, because this journey was looking at not only liquor but beer purchases as well. They might check if any items are on sale. They'll compare brands, compare prices, and then make their purchase. And so looking at the socialite journey, this is the vast majority of millennials. This is almost 70% of millennials. This is what their journey looks like. The thing to call out here, though, is that they are always, every time, talking to someone. And we know that millennials are very interactive just in their lives. That translates to their shopping behavior as well. So every time they're on this alcohol purchase decision journey, whether it's pre-store or in-store, they are interacting directly with friends or family. And then if we look at the rebel group, This is about 30% of millennials. And what we'll notice right off the bat, key differentiator is these people are not speaking to anyone along their journey. They don't have any direct influencer along the journey. But what we found is that there's something we're calling a ghost influencer, those little black, that's supposed to be a ghost. So they are not speaking directly with anyone along their journey. That step is X'd out for them. And that's the biggest notable difference. The journeys overall look the same, but as we saw, very different in their outcome, the purchase outcome, when we look at their baskets. And so we see these points along the rebel's journey where there's that ghost present. Maybe Uncle Jerry is sitting on their shoulder whispering in their ear. But they are thinking about their friends, their family, whoever's going to be attending that event, even though they're not directly interacting with them. It's interesting that we found this group is more likely to say that they bought someone else's favorite kind of alcohol. So less direct influence happening, but there's something going on there in terms of, that ghost is a significant influencer, and it's increasing their over basket as well.
So here we have it. We have the socialite who's conferring with others in order to determine what purchase they should make, and the rebel who's deciding via that little voice whispering in their ear as to what they should buy, and that's resulting in a larger basket size and purchase each time. So the question is, so what? How do you action that as a brand or a retailer? Well, there are many different ways, and the actual study itself reveals a lot of them, but just to give a couple of concepts real quick. We first need to understand more about who these people are and how they shop. So the socialite is the person who, right before the party, is conferring with folks, and they're running to the liquor store, and they're going into the express lane and grabbing what they need. They're more likely to be shopping as a couple, 2 people on the trip. That's one of the things we see from when people take a picture of their receipt. We ask who was on the trip. We can see whether it was male and female together, or with kids, or without kids on a shopping trip. In this case, we see the socialites much more likely to shop in pairs, whereas the rebels are shopping alone. They're shopping ahead of time. They're stocking up. They're actually surprisingly shopping at the grocery store. It's a surprising finding. You'd think the rebels, the one going to the liquor store. Nope, they're the ones who are doing this as part of a larger trip quite often. And just some other insights in terms of how do you reach these people. Let's say you had a story to tell, or a brand position that you felt really matched with one of these target audiences. How would you reach them? Well, we do see some very distinct differences, not only in terms of how they shop, but who they are demographically. And then from a messaging standpoint, well, the socialite is conferring with others. They're getting the input as to what to buy from others. That means you really need to be present in terms of where they go. If they're in a rush, they're going to one spot because that's the only spot that they're going to get to before they get to the party. You've got to be present. You have to be there. But one of the things we can clearly see if you want to grab that purchase, if somebody's already said, hey, grab some Smirnoff, or grab XYZ brand, in that case, you have to be not only present with that brand, but your upsell opportunities may be a larger pack or a variety pack based on quite a bit of work that we've done with different alcohol clients for these types of occasions. A larger pack with a variety can often be a winning strategy here, but you have to be present in store and visible, and they have to be able to find you quickly. On the rebel side, I think the message is, you've got this, which is listen to that inner voice, stock up, make sure that you've associated your brand with that mindset of you're going to treat your guests or the people that you're partying with to a wonderful time, evening, etc. And building that association of your brand and those kinds of activities so that when the rebel's thinking, oh, I need some beer, what should I get for my group of friends? Or I want to make some cocktails or something along those lines, that your brand is already in their mind and associated with that, and that they're seeking you out in the store. So with that, we would welcome any questions.
Good. You have questions over there? Go ahead.
Yeah, how would you get, or I guess in a typical study, how do you get from knowing those where different opportunities are to be able to serve those.
Take that.
Yeah, so our methodology is survey-based, looking at all of the steps that a shopper takes along their journey. We then quantify that and put those in sequential order. We also very oftentimes will follow that up with qualitative research. So once we understand what that journey looks like, we're able to dig into it a little bit deeper, get into their mindsets, the need states, and add some color and context to the journey.
Good, let me just follow up on that one and then we'll get to you. How soon are you asking the survey after they've done their shopping?
Anywhere from the triggered surveys, they can happen anywhere from 30 seconds to maximum 24 hours after the purchase has been submitted.
That's one of the great benefits that we found working with InfoScout for our journey mapping. We're asking a lot of really detailed questions to people about their recent purchase. And before we had this partnership with InfoScout, we're relying on traditional panels, which sometimes are 30 days out from that purchase, and it's self-report as well. So, oh yeah, I purchased this in the last couple of weeks. With InfoScout, we know for a fact that that purchase was made very recently.
Normally segmentation has broader groups, so it's interesting to see just two and 70% falling into one segment. Did you create these segments, or was it a client? These were their segments, or how did you end up with just two?
Sure, yeah, we did create these segments, and we looked at this data a lot of different ways, and this was the one that we settled on for this particular story, but we did look at a segmentation which involved, I think there were five different groups. Typically our journeys result in anywhere between 4 and 6 segments, but we felt there was really more similarity than differences, interestingly, in the purchase behaviors for millennials. So when we found this key difference in the basket size and the social interactions, it really cleanly just split into 2 groups.
Were they needs-based or attitudes or both?
They were based on reported behaviors throughout the journey. Yeah.
Thanks. I know in this case it was triggered into a survey. Jared, is it, oh, pretty beads. Distracted. How often is it being triggered that you're taking people from scanned receipts into something qual, like whether it's something online or a phone conversation, for example?
Yeah. Got it. So rather than being triggered in their smartphone app and being asked the questions there, some of the work that we do with geometry actually to support their needs, longer, more involved surveys, they'll be sent an email. Well, they'll be notified in app, but they'll also be sent an email to take the survey via PC, laptop, et cetera, so that they can do a longer online survey. And as Bridget mentioned, I know they've done and other clients have said, look, we need to go much deeper with a subset of these people and either have a phone conversation or otherwise. And we've allowed kind of subsets of our panel that aren't used in our core measurement panel to go ahead and be contacted offline, and those panelists earn more, and then they can be either phone interviewed or brought in person for much deeper understanding of the key drivers. So that is something that we do fairly often.
And does this say something awful about millennials, that when they go shopping and are thinking about their friends, they buy cheaper booze?
That's a good question. I wonder. I interpreted it as the rebel. If I'm going to go out on a limb and make all these purchases, I'm going to make sure I've got all the bases covered. Right? I don't want to be the friend who thought I thought of other people and didn't actually bring enough variety to cover everyone. So as a result, I'm stocking up and getting more variety and making sure we don't run out of the good stuff.
Okay, my millennial son would be happier with that interpretation.
Yours might be more accurate, but I'll stick to mine for now.
I had a question. I was wondering, the panelists on the InfoScout panel, how many receipts do they actually scan per day? If you're asking them to scan everything they buy, that's a big task.
Yep. So our continuously active panelists report almost a shopping trip a day to us. That's across fast-moving consumer goods, apparel, electronics, specialty retail, and also includes dining, quick service restaurants, casual dining, et cetera. So it's roughly 1 receipt per day per panelist is what we see overall. So basically, with our 350,000 panelists, we're getting 350 to 400,000 shopping trips a day.
Quick question, I don't need a mic. What's the primary incentive for scanning?
We have a portfolio of mobile apps, and they create different experiences and incentives for different kinds of people. One of them is a school fundraising app that every time you shop and take a picture receipt, you've basically earned a donation to your kid's school or a charity of your choice. Another is a Tamagotchi game, where if you download the app, you've adopted a virtual runt, you feed it pictures of your receipts, and it levels up into a fat and happy hog earning coins in a piggy bank. You can cash out from the piggy bank, so it's a gamified way to earn money from your shopping. We've got one that turns pictures of receipts into lottery tickets. So basically different apps that appeal to different people for different reasons. And then we bring all that data in, harmonize it, and normalize it to basically be a representative mini America. Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thanks, Jared and Bridget.
Thanks so much, Steve.